everybody. Nadine here, the supervising librarian of the Philip Roth Personal Library at the Newark Public Library. I was very excited to answer all of the questions I hoped that were going to come in, but sadly there was only one. So we will answer that one question today, which is, what is the first book that Roth acquired for his personal library? It is a difficult question to answer, but I will try to do so briefly, but explain as much as possible because there are various elements to it. As much as we would like to think that it is, Philip Roth's personal library is not comprehensive. You might ask me, why is that? It's because we've been contacted by authors who gave copies of their books to Roth and they're not here. And trust me, we've spent quite careful time processing and inventorying, and there are certain items that are just not here. Recently, I was approached by someone who I believe attended college with Roth, and they were insistent that there were books on textbooks on Old Norse here in the collection because it was a course that Roth took, and Roth never ever threw anything away. Sad to say and to disappoint this visitor, but no, that book's not here either. So perhaps Roth didn't keep everything. I'll go through some additional factors. So as a young boy, when Roth was growing up in Newark, there were not many books in his house because the family simply could not afford them. He recalled that his father had just a handful of books. Therefore, Philip Roth visited the public library, and there he discovered some of his favorite authors, such as John Tunis. Later on in life, he bought those books for himself, but they wouldn't be original copies because he purchased them secondhand and they were not the copies that he read when he was a boy. So if Roth had owned those copies by John Tunis when he was younger and those were in the library, those would have been probably the oldest books here in the collection. And there are many old books in the collection, for example, many from the 1940s, some earlier, the memoirs of Louis XIV and the Regency from 1901. But that doesn't count, and all those books don't count because Roth went online and purchased used books constantly to supplement his research. So there are books in here that have been withdrawn from other public libraries, and there's even a book from the Fort Dix library here. And those books he purchased to supplement his research. So if he was writing about a war, he'd purchase these books used as source material. The following is the best answer I can give, and don't hold me to it because there are many gaps and unknowns in the equation. Roth signed and dated many of the books in his personal collection, but not all of them. And some of them are signed but not dated. So again, it's not complete. The earliest I could find was Philip Stearns' The Moonlight Traveler, Great Tales of Fantasy and Imagination. So there we go. And this particular edition is from 1945. And there's Roth's signature from 1947. So Roth would have been about 14 at the time. The next one I could find was Edmund Wilson's To the Finland Station, A Study in Writing and Acting of History, which Roth signed in October of 1950. Thank you for your interest, and I look forward to answering any questions that you might have in the future. Thank you. Hey there, me again. We got a second question. The question is, did Roth own a computer, and are the contents of that computer available to the public? Yes, Roth owned a computer. From images that I've seen, it looks like he owned at least two. And keep in mind that he passed away in May of 2018 After his death, we went in to document the shelves and the books on the shelves and the artifacts that were in place. And at that time, yes, there was a computer, as you'll see in a following image, in the writing studio in Connecticut. Some time had passed, and it wasn't until summer of 2020 that we were allowed by the estate to come and pick up the books. So by that time, decorative items from the house had already been put up for auction. So when we returned at that time, the computer was gone and many other items were gone. So the bequest included books, all of Roth's awards, diplomas, certain artifacts and certain furniture, but not everything. So we don't have the computer, we don't have any discs to go along with it. So we do know that he used it, but it's not here. And because we got a second question and I'm very thankful for it, I'm gonna give you a very, very special treat. I'm gonna play a clip from an unpublished interview, an interview that uh, Roth was doing with Saul Bellow in 1999. And they go off on tangents and they start talking about the internet, and Roth references his computer. And you're going to hear that in just a minute. And yes, there is an expletive in it, but I think it is hilarious and I hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
I do my work on an old computer, which
What kind of information are they getting then?
Saul, I don't use it. I had one brought schlepped into the house,
Yeah.
and I and I thought, this is madness. I can't do this shit. I had someone teach me, and I haven't turned it on in 6 months. So you can't don't